Welcome to a video working on ratios and skills practice. In the beginning here, we're going to write ratios in three different forms. So when we talk about 8 dogs to 20 dogs, that's 8 to 20, but those can be reduced. So the first thing I'm going to do is reduce by 4 and get 2/5. So fractions is one way to write the ratio. We could also write with the word 2 and also with the colon. So all three ways would be acceptable. In number 2, 14 feet to 13 hands. Well, 14 to 13, or 14 to 13, or 14 to 13, just with different ways. 6 hours to 6 minutes. Now notice here, minutes and hours, different units. So we want to make sure those are in the same units if possible first. Well, we know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So 6 times 60 would give me 360 minutes to 6 minutes. So now I'm in the same units. Now I can really compare. So I would take 360 over 6, and that does reduce to 60 over 1, which would be 60 to 1, or 60 with the word 2 to 1. Same concept in number 4. $2 is the same as 200 cents. So we are talking 15 to 200, which does reduce 3 to 40, and then we can write it in our different ways. So if possible, you should reduce. It makes it a little bit nicer. And 30 hot dogs to 40 hamburgers. Well, 30 to 40 reduces 3 to 4. 3 to 4, 3 colon 4. Okay, now let's get to some story problems. A recipe calls for 4 cups of orange juice, 2 cups of soda, and 4 cups of pineapple juice. The recipe yields 10 cups of juice. So the 10 cups of juice, right, this is the total. So what is the ratio of cups to soda? Okay, so we're talking about soda to cups of pineapple juice. Well, we had 2 cups of soda, 4 cups of pineapple juice. So that ratio would be 1/2. And part to part or part to whole, it would be part to part. So what does this mean? Well, for every 1 cup of soda, you need 2 cups of pineapple juice. That's what it means. So if you were either scaling the recipe up or scaling it down, you want to stay in that proportion. You always want to have twice as much pineapple juice as soda. Now, same problem, or same information, we want to know pineapple juice to soda. Well, we just talked about 4 cups of pineapple juice to 2 cups of soda, and so that makes it 2 over 1. Again, part to part, because neither one of them is the total. And now we can say there is twice as much pineapple juice as soda, or 2 for every 1. Same information, but written differently because of the item that you're talking about first, right? Order does matter when you are writing ratios. Ratio of cups of orange juice to total cups of punch. So now we are talking about the total. So there are 4 cups of orange juice, 10 cups of punch, which is 2/5. And because this is part to whole, we can use a percentage. So 2/5 is 0.4, which is 40%. So we know that 40% of the juice is orange juice, which is, I like the percents better because that allows you to really talk about the juice in a little bit better way. The next, 9 through 11, we're talking about Kathy and Susan. So for every 3 laps that Kathy ran, Susan ran 9 laps. So if we think about this, Kathy to Susan, that's 3 to 9. Well, just looking at that fraction like that, we know that 3 goes into both of those. So we can, one too many equal signs there, we can reduce this to be 1 to 3. So when you look at question number 9, when Kathy finished 1 lap, how many laps had Susan run? Well, if Kathy is 1, then Susan is 3, so our answer for this particular problem is 3. Same concept, when Kathy finished 9 laps, how many did Susan run? So we know that Kathy, Susan, and we know the ratio is 3 to 9. So if I want Kathy to run 9 laps, well, that's 3 times this much, so that means Susan had to run 3 times that much, so she ran 27 laps. So if Kathy runs 9, Susan runs 27. And now, when Kathy and Susan have completed a total of 16 laps, how many of those laps were Kathy's and how many were Susan's? Okay, well, first of all, let's keep this concept Kathy runs 3 for Susan's every 9. So the total here is 12. And we talked about in problem number 9 that for every 1 lap that Kathy does, Susan does 3. So if we add 1 on top, that would be adding 3 on the bottom, because that's the ratio. 1 lap for Kathy is 3 laps for Susan, and that would give us 4 to 12 for a total of 16. So this is what we want to talk about here. And the question says, how many of those laps were Kathy's? Well, 4 laps were Kathy's. And how many were Susan's? 12. And that keeps it in the ratio of 1 to 3. If you think about it, so 3/9 is 1/3, and 4 over 12 is 1/3. So that keeps it in the same ratio.